Happy Halloween, everybody, and much like last year, we're celebrating by doing a Halloween film, as today we're going to look at Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, released in 1989. Pretty much all the characters that survived Halloween 4 return in this one, as this film takes place 1 year later. And usually I don't make my feelings known about a film this early into a review, but I have to say this now, I hate this movie. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. It's no secret that I'm a really big fan of Halloween 4. It wasn't a perfect film, but I thought it did a lot right, and its great ending really well set up for films that would follow it. This film, however, took everything positive that Halloween 4 set up, and completely destroyed it. Remember how Jamie was a surprisingly well-acted child character who was easy to get invested in? Well, she's a mute for 2/3 of this movie. Remember how Rachel was Jamie's incredible protector and probably the second smartest character in the history of the franchise? Well, she's a dumb bimbo now. Remember how Halloween 4 had literally one of the best horror movie endings of all time? Yeah, they did nothing of value with it. Remember how Michael's mask looked fucking normal? Well, he looks like a weird-ass alien now. Remember how Dr. Loomis was a strong and sensible character despite all he had been through and was Michael's perfect foil? Well, now he's a goddamn crazy person who will stop at nothing, even at sacrificing others, to kill Michael. And you know what, I'm actually kind of fine with this one. I think Loomis's development was actually fine and quite sensible. Everything else sucked though. And critics thought so too, giving this negative reviews, and so did the audiences apparently, as on a budget of $5.5 million, it only made back $11.5 million. And while this is not a good Halloween movie, it is a Halloween movie nonetheless, and it is Halloween, so let's look back at Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, released in 1989. So our film actually begins during Halloween 4, with Rachel running over Michael and sending him into a ditch. And after Jamie takes his hand and he gets up, the police shoot him down into a mine shaft. We now continue on those events though, as it's revealed police sent dynamite down the shaft, but Michael escaped at the last minute into a river. And he was carried down the river towards the house of a local fisherman. Michael attempts to strangle the man, but then falls over unconscious. We now jump to 1 year later and we're at a children's clinic in Haddonfield, Illinois, where Jamie Lloyd is having a nightmare about how she stabbed her stepmother a year earlier. It goes a bit deeper than that as she wakes up, however, as she can also see through Michael's eyes, and Michael has some sort of sweet new wrist tattoo as well. That's pretty cool. And through Michael's eyes, she sees him get up and kill the fisherman. Jamie's straight up convulsing at this point, and the doctors and nurses think she's gonna die, but Dr. Loomis shows up out of nowhere and he's like, she's fine. And turns out she is. Jamie wakes up the next morning to being visited by Rachel, and her friend Tina also comes in for the window. They don't exactly have a conversation though, as Jamie is now a mute. And then Rachel goes home, she's preparing to leave town for a couple days, and Michael stalks her there. And this whole sequence just crushed my soul. Like, this was an incredible character. Again, the second strongest character probably in the history of the franchise, and you massacred her. Look how they massacred my girl. They just slaughtered her. And like I said, Michael's stalking her house, so she's about to get double slaughtered. Jamie even has a vision though and draws a picture of Rachel's dog Max, which causes Loomis to call the house. Rachel goes downstairs to check on Max, but notices that he's gone, and she gets out the door before Michael can get to her. They call the police, and these two cops that show up, literally, as they're walking, there's clown shoe effects. Like, I'm not joking. That's a thing in the movie. And then Max shows up and Rachel's like, oh, silly boy, he must have just ran away. I'm so embarrassed. I hate this. Back at the hospital, Jamie's friend Billy tries to cheer her up, but it doesn't work, and Loomis shuts him out and he's like, Jamie, you have to help me find Michael. Why won't you help me, Jamie? Again, he's gone completely crazy, and it's the one development in this movie I like because it makes a lot of sense. And then we go back to Rachel at home, trying on outfits without a care in the world, and thankfully to God this is about to be over, as she hears something in the other room. She goes in said room and finds a bloodied picture of Jamie, and then turn around, there's Michael with some scissors to the neck. Tina and Rachel's other friend Sam then show up at her house, as I guess they're supposed to stay there while Rachel's supposed to be gone for 2 days. Luckily for them, however, they're in and out quick enough to just avoid Michael. Unlucky for them, it appears Michael now has some new targets. They're planning on going to visit Jamie, but then they bail on that when Tina's greaser boyfriend, also named Michael, interestingly enough, shows up and picks them up. And meanwhile, Jamie looks out her window and oh shit, there's the other Michael, the one in the spooky alien mask. Michael breaks into the facility and starts chasing Jamie around into the basement, and he's almost got her, but oh, turns out it wasn't Michael, it was just some basement worker, and I guess she was just having a vision? I don't know. And Loomis comes into her room again and is like, well, if you thought things were dumb now, they're about to get dumber, as a random bus pulls up from Chicago and a man in black gets out, whose face we don't see, but we know he's evil because he kicks a dog. Loomis, meanwhile, goes to the old Myers house to look for Michael, and the man in black has followed him there. And turns out he also has that sweet wrist tattoo that Michael did. I'm sure that's just coincidence. Loomis checks the basement and opens a laundry chute, and a couple of dead rats fall out, and he laughs, and then he closes it and locks it, which might not sound significant, but it will later. Meanwhile, other Michael, we'll just call him Mike, as well as Tina, Sam, and Sam's boyfriend Spitz, are all hanging out waiting to get some beer for a Halloween party. And yes, you heard me correctly, that man's name is Spitz. His parents must have hated him. After they load the beer into Mike's car, somebody slashes up on his car. Oh no, it's Michael, who also slashes up on Mike. Meanwhile, Jamie and Billy are about to go to a Halloween party, which, considering half the town wants her dead as they know that she's Michael's niece, is definitely a choice. Tina, meanwhile, is about to go out to another Halloween party with Michael. I'm calling him Michael again because she thinks it's Mike, but it isn't. At least Michael's a good sport and is wearing the Nixon mask that she gave Mike. Jamie senses that something's wrong, however, and she starts convulsing again. Michael stops at a store so Tina can get some cigarettes, and then Jamie, meanwhile, is finally able to speak again and says, "Tina, at the store," and then the cops show up really quick and stop Tina from going back to the car, which vanishes with Michael in it. They take Tina back to see Jamie, who can just magically speak normally again, because that's how that works, I guess. And then Jamie's bawling and she's like, "Tina, please stay with me so you don't die." And Tina's like, "No, Jamie, I'm a fucking moron who wants to go to a Halloween party, so I'm gonna leave." Loomis does give Tina some protection though, those clown shoes cops who follow her. Great. And at said party, the cops are pranked by Tina, Sam, and Spitz, who's pretending to be Michael Myers. They then all go into a barn, and there's this long, drawn-out scene with some random jump scares, and they're chasing kittens, which just goes fucking nowhere. And then Tina leaves so Sam and Spitz can have sex, which they're about to do, until Michael thankfully shows up and kills them both. And then Michael then goes over to roll up on the cops, and you can really see it now, good old alien face. Meanwhile, Jamie and Billy, who have ran away, are almost to the party, but they might be too late as Tina has just entered the barn. She finds a blood-covered kitten, and then her dead friends, and then the dead cops. And then finally Michael, who's in another car, and trying to run her over. Billy and Jamie then arrive on the scene, and he almost runs over Billy before chasing Jamie in a car, and man, that 9-year-old girl is fast as fuck outrunning that car. Michael chases her into the forest, but then he crashes into a tree and the car explodes, and that must be the end of him. Nope, just kidding, he's fine. And he's about to kill Jamie, but then Tina sacrifices herself, and he kills her instead. Loomis then shows up out of nowhere and takes Jamie and Billy back to the police. And in the aftermath, Jamie sees Tina's dead body and finally agrees to help Loomis. Everyone leaves except for Loomis, who sees Michael coming out of the forest and taunts him to come back to his house. And at said house, Jamie, Loomis, and the rest of the police force are all set up, including a very nice deputy named Charlie who was personally tasked with protecting Jamie. Loomis paces around the house and hey, there's Michael's wrist tattoo on the wall. Speaking of Michael, I guess he attacked Jamie's care facility, and all the cops, everyone except Charlie, roll out to go deal with that. This works out well for Loomis though, who tells Charlie that no one's going anywhere, as Michael's right outside. Michael enters the house and Loomis tries to talk him down, telling him that Jamie can finally quell his rage. How? I don't fucking know, but apparently she can. Look at that weird ass fucking alien mask. What the hell happened? They put it in the dryer or something? Seems like Loomis is getting through to Michael though, and he almost takes the knife, but no, not quite. Michael slashes him down. And then Michael heads upstairs where Jamie and Charlie are trying to escape through the window. Charlie shoots at Michael and actually lands a headshot, which just pisses him off more as he storms into the room and brutally murders Charlie, who was a fucking great character, even though he was only in this movie for like 8 minutes. They then show that all the cops are back at the care facility, so it's just Jamie and Michael now. Jamie then crawls into the laundry chute and Michael finds her and she falls down it, but not out of it, because remember, Loomis locked it earlier. So whose favorite is that working? I don't know. Michael goes to the bottom and he can't get to her, so maybe her. Oh, no, he ripped the door off. Because she's got the strength of a lion, though, she climbs all the way back up that thing and ends up going into the attic. And in the attic, somebody's lit a bunch of candles. That's pretty cool. Maybe there's some cool stuff up here. Nope, just dead people, including dead Rachel. And here comes Michael, but Jamie calls an audible to the whole situation as she notices a coffin and lays in it. The coffin's got a picture of her in it too, and she calls Michael Uncle, which seems to stun him. She then asks him to take off the mask so that she can see his face, and a single tear runs down his face. She then goes to wipe the tear, which I guess was a step too far, as Michael freaks the fuck out and tries to go stabby again. She runs right into Loomis, who apparently has gone full-blown crazy at this point, and uses her as bait to draw Michael in. Draw Michael into what, however? Well, a fucking rope trap. Who are you, Wile E. Coyote? Apparently yes, as he then shoots Michael multiple times with tranquilizer darts and hits him over the head with a piece of wood until he passes out. And then Loomis has a fucking heart attack and collapses onto Michael. And it's all over. The cops have locked Michael up and put him in a jail cell, which I'm sure will hold him. And also, there's a shot there of Michael just fiddling with his chains, which is both fucking hilarious and also encapsulates just how terrible and how much of a fuck up this movie was. Speaking of fuck ups, here comes the Man in Black into the police station. I'm sure he's just making a visit. A cop takes Jamie outside into his car, but he goes back in as the Man in Black is in there, shooting up everybody with a machine gun. Jamie then makes her way back in to see all the cops dead and Michael is gone, and she sobs as this film finally fucking ends. Well, even though I'm sure the placement is super obvious, let's go to our Halloween big board. And believe it or not, we are not going to have a 2-minute discussion on where I'm going to put this like we did with Scream, because this movie sucks. In fact, it's the first film in the franchise that sucks, so this is easily last. So, new rankings. Halloween 1, number 1, Halloween 2, number 2, Halloween 4, number 3, Halloween 3, number 4, and Halloween 5, number 5. And while it was the first film that sucked, oh buddy, it will not be the last. If you thought this film was bad, and it is, somehow, the next film, Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers, is even worse. Seriously, if you thought this movie was whack, Halloween 6 is even whacker. Like, it's really bad. We get more explanation on the Men in Black thing, and it's just, holy shit, it's not good. But we'll get to that, unfortunately, at some point. As far as this film goes, yeah, just terrible. Like, they just... There was so much positive from Halloween 4. So much positive. And they ruined it. Every single thing except for Loomis's development. I think Loomis's development was fine. I think it's very logical that the man who got half burned to death and had been, chasing this crazy serial killer for years upon years upon years at a time would go completely insane himself and then seemingly die of a heart attack. That makes perfect sense to me. Like, him going off the rails, I'm surprised it didn't happen in a movie earlier. Well, it kind of did. Kind of did the end of Halloween 4, but still, that makes sense. Everything else, though, just awful. What they did to Rachel is probably what pisses me off the most, because if you watch my Halloween 2 review, I loved Rachel. She was a breath of fresh air. It was nice to see somebody finally, other than Laurie, actually be a smart fucking character and just, stick up for who was our main character. She was a perfect shield of protection for Jamie, and she was smart. She did things that normal horror movie characters don't do, but they took all that and they fucking ruined it in this film, and they just made her a random bimbo. And for what? For nothing. Like, it just pisses me off. And yeah, again, I can't get more into the Men in Black stuff. We'll have to do it in Halloween 6. But this movie will probably, usually when there's a worse movie after this movie would look better by comparison. But I think Halloween 6 somehow makes this movie look even worse, considering what it's setting up for. And you're not gonna like what it's setting up for. But unfortunately, we'll get to that at a later time. For now, if you're looking to watch a movie, a Halloween movie this Halloween, watch Halloween 1. Watch Halloween 2. Watch Halloween 3. Watch Halloween 4. Don't fucking watch Halloween 5. And that's why I did, so you don't have to. But that is going to do it for my Halloween look back at Halloween 5. Next time, we'll be back with Halloween 6. And by next time, I don't mean next week. I mean probably next year. But that is going to do it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to leave it a like. If you didn't like it, don't. If you want to follow any of my social media links, they're all in the video description down below. Thank you to all my patrons named in the video description as well for supporting me and my channel. I appreciate you guys. With all that being said, my name is Noah Taft. This has been my Halloween look back at Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, released in 1989. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.